And it begins just like this. Hello.
Okay, hi.
Welcome to Unnamed Podcast.
Pilot
Episode, if you will. I am Christopher Brookes from DDT Professional Wrestling. Joined today, and probably forever,
by Drew Parker, freelance independent wrestler in Japan as of a month ago.
Oh, he's a free man now.
Yeah.
Dobby is a free elf.
Finally.
How have you been finding being freelance, seeing as you're like 1 week deep?
Yeah, like 1-2 weeks. I feel like I've not actually done it yet. So I've got like freelance matches coming up, but it's just been freedoms.
But freedoms that's a new thing?
Yeah, it's new.
You did it, once before?
Yeah, like 3 years ago when GCW were over. And then, but it was because someone had to like drop out. Like, I think Alex maybe went home early for whatever reason. And then Sasaki called Ito and was like, "Onegaishimasu, we need like a white boy." And then they got me.
We need a foreigner.
We need a foreigner now.
You'll fit the bill.
Yeah, but besides that was it. The closest I came to it was like wrestling Jack when he came to Ikitauzen.
Oh yeah, of course, because he was in Ikitauzen for freedoms.
But yeah, it's weird because obviously I've got my leg still like damaged up.
Your leg is still very damaged.
It's still very damaged.
I'm looking at it and I saw you squat down to get onto this floor that we're calling a recording.
Don't tell the people. Studio apartment.
We're sitting on the apartment of my floor in Tokyo, Japan, where I only have one chair because I have no need for two, ever.
Until now.
Until now.
Once this pilot does absolute numbers, we'll buy a chair.
And now I've realised the error of my ways. So you were saying your leg. I thought that would be a fun thing to talk about for the first edition of whatever this is going to be. Since you've just obviously returned from a month dotting back and forth between England and America after you finished up with Big Japan. And what a month you had.
Yeah, so it was a busy month. So I wrestled, what was it? I defended the Big Japan belt against Ishikawa, relinquished it.
Well, I mean, you could probably also mention in that you won it. Seeing as that was a week.
I won it the week before.
That was like a week before, right?
At the first Yokohama Budokan show. So I won that. And then they were like, "We want you to defend it against Ishikawa." And I was like, this is it. Like, Ishikawa is finally gonna, he's gonna beat me. It's over.
The push has come. He will dethrone his senior.
The new era is now. Because obviously everyone knew that I was leaving him. Well, not leaving him, but going freelance.
It had been announced.
And then I won. Relinquished it on the spot.
What a son of a bitch.
I know. So then flew home the next day to Wales.
Yep.
For technically 4 days.
4 full days.
Yeah. And then went straight to Los Angeles for GCW. And this was meant to be the trip. I guess it kind of was the trip in the end, but it was a bumpy trip. So I went to Los Angeles first. Arrived, had like a night. And then wrestled Joey Janela the next day, which was fun. Everyone's probably seen the clip of him lacing his boot with a...
Well, no, you should definitely go over that. Where was that?
So that was Los Angeles at the Ukrainian Center. It's like this really big, beautiful hall. And then, if I remember it correctly, we were like sat backstage with X-Pac. And then like Effie comes up to us and he's like, "You guys doing fire today?" And
just out of the blue, like you might be.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
The off chance.
We weren't. We were meant to have like glass and stuff, but they couldn't get any. So we were like, "Oh, it's like a death match, but it's like just barbed wire," which sounds like dumb to say it's just barbed wire. But whatever. We're like, "Oh, we kind of wanted glass, blah blah," because it was the main. Then Effie's like, "Hey, you guys doing fire?" And we were like,
Is that your Effie impression, by the way? I like the face that
you can't.
do.
Yeah, if only like the listeners could like. It's more of a physical impersonation.
It really
than like
is.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah. He's intense.
It's sexual, somewhat.
And then we were like, oh, and Joey's like, his brain starts ticking. He's like, oh, like we can do fire. He's like, I'll do the super kick. And I was like, okay, perfect. Because I know that's like, it's not dangerous for me.
Well, I mean,
hair. I wet my hair though all the time.
Not dangerous for you is maybe underselling it somewhat.
Statement.
I'd say it's still a little bit
less dangerous. For me, the worst for me is I go bald, right? Which is on its way anyway. The worst for Joey, he like melts his foot. So then he like peels his leg, his little kick pad up, and I was expecting like a line of gasoline and then lighter. But then he just like doesn't stop.
Right.
Like lacing it and lacing it and lacing it. And then he kicks me.
And you got to think then at that point, I mean, hindsight is of course 50-50.
Yes.
But a sock is absorbent. I think the beneficial thing in a kick
Yeah.
pad is that the front is typically like a
Pleather, sort of
pleather,
stuff.
like
yeah.
not latex, but you know what I mean, like that kind of like fake rubber material.
Keno
and
at Noah,
kind of just slide off
Yeah.
pretty quickly. It's not
Like
going
when
to
Keno does it, he, like lace, fire, boom, and it's done.
yeah, it's not
right?
going to absorb it.
I think Joey had like the same style boots as me, like the Asics, meshy, very flammable boots.
Right.
So he just like laces where his laces are.
He laces where his laces are, as you do.
Yeah.
With laces.
Kicks me. I feel like it's hot. It was very hot, but I knew I wasn't bald, and I'm there holding my face. And then I roll back over, and I just see like Joey like patting at his fucking foot, and it won't go out. And then I'm looking around for like some sort of help, and in come the infamous 2 bottles of water. Water. So in fire hydrants, it's not water.
Which usually there's like two. Is there 2 types or 2 or 3 types?
Yeah.
One's like a powder.
Yeah.
And the other one is like
Is it CO2? Or is that the powder one?
I don't know. There's like one that you can get like a powder one, a foam one, or the
Yeah,
other one
that's
is like
it,
a
right.
spray that.
Yeah.
puts
All
it
of
out.
which
either
aren't
way,
pure
all of
water.
which aren't just H2O.
And we're not talking like liter bottles either. We are talking like
500 mil, boys.
yeah, like 500 mil, maybe even like 470. I'm not sure. So they throw them in the ring. Only one reaches Joey. One hits me, and then this is like for me. This is like, oh, I'm a pro wrestler. As I rolled away and swiped my hand, and I swiped the water bottle towards him to put it out.
How much better would it have been if you rolled and swiped it and it like flew back out?
Sorry, buddy. And then, to be fair to him, he just took his fucking sock off and just wrestled around in thumbtacks.
I mean, they put his foot out.
Yeah, the ring was on fire too. The canvas.
That was the concerning thing for me, because whenever you're like wrestling in the States or whatever, I tend to kind of have a mental map of like what time it will be based on the time zone, and then I'll kind of check in on the hashtag of the event or whatever, because usually like if you're doing GCW or something, they're gonna have like people gifting it live and whatever, so I'll be like, oh, I'll check in and kind of see what he's up to. And I remember I checked the hashtag, and the first thing that was like a surprise to me was like, I think I was live checking it, and I was like, oh, they're kind of using weapons, because it was announced as just
like a match,
a regular match or whatever. I was like, oh, I didn't expect they were going to do like a hardcore deathmatch thing. And then the next thing I saw was like Janela's foot on fire. And like the more concerning thing almost was like the pools of fire in the ring.
Yeah, that
I
was
feel like you were almost close to that situation where was it like FMW all those years ago when the Sheik did that tag match and they did the flaming ropes and like the whole ring ended up like going on fire. I was like, oh Jesus. But yeah, I watched it and I was like, oh fucking hell.
So that was messy.
Was his foot okay afterwards?
Yeah, he was fine. Like we were like backstage and he peeled his sock off, and I was expecting like his foot like to peel off with him, but no, he was
looks
fine.
like the scene in Indiana Jones, but the foot version.
Yeah,
it's just melting.
He was in great spirits. He was fine.
Well, I mean, that's what really matters, I suppose.
Yeah.
He was in good spirits.
So that was day one.
But to be fair, like I feel like in those situations, like the mistake was better than if it had gone off without a hitch.
Yeah.
If you'd have just done the super kick on fire, it would have got like a few likes. A few
How many
retweets.
times have we seen that? How many?
How many
the
times
flaming
have we
like
seen it?
Cyclope does like the flaming knee pad. It always goes out.
But the fact that it went wrong,
yeah,
that's what gets the numbers.
exactly.
But is that not like kind of becoming not a trope? I'd say. But I feel like Janela always has something that like goes wrong and then it becomes like a viral
he
thing.
tweeted something right afterwards like, I've gone viral again, baby.
I feel like maybe he does it on purpose now. He knew the sock was absorbent and it was a bad idea, and he was like, "Watch this."
Yeah, he had like someone commented like, "Why didn't you have a fire extinguisher?" And he said, "I had my reasons."
He seems
maybe
like,
that was it.
He seems like quite the character. I think I say like I've never met him. I think I've met him like once or twice, very briefly, but I've never like met him for any long period. Like I've never conversed with him or hung out with him or anything. But coming to DDT soon.
He is
August. I should know.
August
20th, maybe. Otaku Wrestle Peter Pan.
Is it maybe earlier?
Could be.
I think it's earlier. It's like the first half of. That's not good, like PR.
Yeah,
the first half of August. Be there.
Might be, or the end. I'm not sure.
He's wrestling your mate.
He's not my mate. He's wrestling Shumma. I hope he fucking set Shumma on fire. No super kick, just burn him.
Just set him on fire.
I can say that on a podcast. I can't say that on Twitter.
No, not on Twitter. Not anymore.
Shumma will report me to the police again. The cop caller.
You're on thin cop caller. Oh, Joey's gonna hate him.
Oh no.
Joey's gonna dwarf him as well. He's
Is
like
he?
a thick boy now.
Oh, I thought you meant like height wise. How tall is Joey?
He's like the same as me.
How tall's Shumma? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
I have no like concept of height because everyone is shorter than me. So when people are like, "How tall's that person?" I'm like, just shorter.
You just get the bird's eye view.
Shorter than me, and I don't know how tall that equates to. But yeah, that'll be fun. That should be a good match.
Yeah.
When I heard that DDT were bringing over Janela, in my head I was like, it has to be Shunma or Mao.
Yeah, of course.
So it makes
out of those two as well, Shunma.
Yeah, it makes like complete sense. Like there was no part of me that was like, I wonder who he will wrestle. I was like, he will be wrestling Shunma or Mao.
Yeah.
He'll be wrestling Shunma or Mao.
People.
Or teaming with me against Shunma and Mao.
Yeah. Because that was your spot. Chris and a friend versus
Chris and a friend in a hardcore match.
It's been Kasai, it's been me.
It's probably been more as well.
Yeah.
It's been quite the trope. It's always fun. So you did that. You wrestled Janela.
So that was night one.
He set his foot on fire.
Yeah, that was setting the pace.
That was night one of the next day, wasn't the show, right? It was a few days after.
So it was probably like a week apart. So after that, we spent like 4 or 5 days in LA. I went to Disneyland, went to Santa Monica Beach.
How was Disney?
Disney was fun. It was a lot of walking.
Have you been to Tokyo Disney?
Never. In 3 and a little bit years.
Yeah, me
never.
neither. I was going to ask how it compared, but I've never been to any Disney.
Never.
No, I don't really feel the need. I quite like theme parks, like Golden Towers.
Yeah.
You got Drayton Manor.
Yeah.
But I feel like Disney, there's like not that much there, and it's so overpopulated.
Yeah. There was this one ride in LA Disney. Is it California Disney? LA Disney, and it had like, do you know, like a big wheel, a Ferris wheel.
I am familiar with them.
But there are 2 kinds of what would you call it? A cart. So there's a normal one.
Yeah.
So in Tokyo, we have that normal one, or karaoke version, which I accidentally went in the karaoke version once that I told you about.
Oh, was this when you sang alone?
Yeah. Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Because I accidentally went in the karaoke one.
You should tell that as a side. As a side story to what you're talking about now.
Quick side quest. I went to see, it was Sendai, I think. Yeah, it was like when we first came over. As I said, we. So when I first came over, I was on my own.
I was here, was I not?
Maybe you were away, like...
on
Tokyo.
On a town show somewhere.
So I hit Samora. I was like, oh, I want to come see the Sendai show. And she was like, yeah, no problem. So I went to watch the Sendai show. And then maybe I was seeing you afterwards or something. And I had like time to fill.
I think you had time to kill.
Yeah, because why didn't I just go back to my share house?
Why didn't I just go home?
Yeah, why didn't I just go home? So then I was like, do you know what? What is it? The Sudabashi Tokyo Dome City.
Tokyo Dome City.
Yeah. Big Ferris wheel. So I went in. I had no knowledge of Japanese at this point. And then this woman, like this staff, she was like pointing like to which one. There was like 2 different lines, and I saw the line with less people. I was like, I want to go in that one. Yeah. I want to be in that line.
I want to get on the ride faster.
So then I go in that one. I get in, and it's just like when you go to a karaoke bar. It's the same thing. There's just a little screen.
Yeah.
And there's like 2 microphones. I was like, there's only one of me. So then I was like sending videos to Chris of like me singing Aerosmith. I don't want to miss a thing. There was some Taylor Swift in there. It was
potentially one of the most tragic things I've ever seen. You singing "Don't Want to Miss a Thing" on the Tokyo Dome City Ferris wheel alone.
It didn't even look good because it was a day show. So when I got there, it was like 3 p.m. broad daylight in like the summer of Japan. So that's a side quest. So in this Ferris wheel,
side quest completed.
Side quest complete. There's normal one, and then there's one that rocks back and forth.
Okay.
And it goes like pretty intense. Not even, can't even show it on a podcast. But yeah, it like goes like boom, 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 really fast. So we went on that. That was pretty terrifying.
Who'd you go Disney with?
It was me, Jimmy Lloyd, and Cole Radrick.
You hold hands at any point?
I think, I was holding hands with Cole multiple times to get Jimmy mad, and it worked every time.
Why was he getting mad?
He was jealous. he only has like a certain amount of time with me per year, right?
Right.
So we try and make the most out of it. But then it got to the point...
This is really sounding like you and Jimmy Lloyd are in
an actual relationship.
Are an actual couple.
But it was getting to the point...
We only get to see each other so often.
Me and Cole would hold hands, and Jimmy would be like, dude, like, knock it off. It became real.
Like you got actually jealous.
Yeah. So Disney, that was, all this point, amazing. I'm having a great time in the United States.
Life. You're living it up.
Then we make our way over to Vegas.
First time in Vegas.
First time ever. So LA was like first time in 3 years. Las Vegas first time. I think we had like one night in Las Vegas. Woke up early. This is the day of the show now, right? I wake up early. Me and Rob we go to the gym.
Which was my favorite part of your entire American adventure is that you met an individual named Rob Shit.
Skid Row, California-based professional wrestler Rob Shit. My personal hero, Rob Shit.
I was not familiar with Rob Shit prior to your tour, but I've become a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I still now follow him on Instagram.
Big up Rob Shit. I've got his t-shirt in my bag, actually. I say because it's so humid that I brought like an extra t-shirt in case I need to change.
37 today? It feels like.
Yeah, because of the humidity.
34 degrees, but feels like 37. Yeah. Shout out to Rob Shit.
Shout out to Rob Shit. So I'm going to change before we go out. I'm going to wear my Rob Shit shirt.
Lovely.
So yeah, me and Rob Shit, like, we want to work out, go down, hotel gym, work out for an hour. And then we go to the pool for another hour. At this point, in the pool, we were like talking about our lives and like our upbringings and stuff.
Wow.
Just surrounded by like happy families.
Just deep.
We had these like horrible talks. It was amazing. No, it was good. It was good. Productive.
We had these terrible talks about our upbringings. It was so fun. It was wonderful.
Then get out, have this like massive Mexican burrito, which is like all beans and rice. It was amazing. At this point, I'm like, get me in the ring.
Get me in the ring.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to perform.
Then we get to the arena. Oh, I have to pick up Rena at one point as well. I picked Rena up, Rena Yamashita. She arrived, and she just drank all day. So then, it comes the time of the show. It's set up. Nerd Bar, Fremont Street. Main event with Arez. First time ever wrestling Arez. And Arez has only had like 6 death matches, I think it was, up to this point. So he was like, he's my senior. He's been wrestling longer than I have. But he's like, death matches. Oh,
I snuck away and got more beer.
What flavor of Pepsi is that?
This is a sparkling Aquarius.
Those are actually good though. So anyway, right, I'm with Arez. Arez is a little nervous, and at this point, bearing in mind like the prior story, I'm having the best time in America. I feel amazing. One good match.
Twilight of your life.
Yeah, twilight of my life. Like, this is it. So I kind of started feeling like, hey, don't worry about it, bro. You're in safe hands, sort of thing. And then we get to the match. Well, we should just go for the whole show. The whole show was good. Joey Janela wrestled the famous Michael Jackson impersonator, Santana Jackson.
Oh,
was amazing.
I've heard about him.
Yeah,
I didn't know that he wrestled on the show.
He rules. They did one spot where, like, there was a table set up behind Joey, and then Santana went up the balcony, had a baby in a blanket, and threw him off at Joey, and he bumped the table. Blanket.
When Michael Jackson was hanging his little child off a balcony.
Yeah, so the whole show was like popping off, and like the entranceway was actual escalators. We like came down from the second floor.
Brilliant.
It was really cool.
Did you feel cool coming down an escalator? Because as an aside to what you're about to say, I remember there was one of the WXW buildings, because they would always run their shows in a venue in Oberhausen called the Turbinenhalle, the Turbine Hall. And it was like an old factory, like warehouse thing, but there was like 5 different rooms or whatever. And then one of the smaller ones was called the Steffi Club.
Okay.
And the entrance was literally this huge staircase. And I can just tell you that I have never felt less cool, or like there's any worse like situation to try and look cool than walking downstairs.
We like really conscious of like not tripping up and
Not
stuff.
tripping, but it was just a really long staircase. And how cool can anyone look walking downstairs?
Especially when they like see you from
They're watching
so
you from
far
the
away.
top to the bottom.
It'd be different if they were like on the side of you all the way down.
Okay, yeah,
50,000.
they're not.
Like
They're all at the bottom.
Shield entrance, like 2012 Shield entrance.
It was definitely not a Shield entrance. They were all just at the bottom, like looking up at you, and you have to just be like,
"Don't worry, guys, I'm on my way."
bobbing side to forth.
Don't you worry.
Hold on a minute, I'm coming. And it was like, oh my god, the worst thing ever.
I did feel that at the top of the stairs,
Just on the escalator, waiting to come down,
and I had
pumping your
like
fists in the air.
I had like a big bundle of light tubes in one hand, and then like darts in the other. But I wanted to like hold onto the guardrail, but I couldn't. So I was like kind of being cautious
On an escalator.
but trying to as like 200 people like just like stared at me. So the escalator wasn't on.
Oh no, you had to walk
Yeah,
down.
so it was an escalator, but it just wasn't on.
Oh, that's terrible.
So then you get to the bottom and it's like one of those half steps, and you're like, oh shit. Like,
That's even worse.
on Twitter, everyone loved it, but
If you've
doing
got an
it was...
escalator entrance, just turn the escalator on, surely.
I think they like turned it off for that reason, just in case someone walked down the wrong one, because there was 2 next.
It would have been great. Imagine you
Just keep
standing on the
The
escalator.
big heel just keeps walking down the wrong
Standing on
escalator.
the escalator, light tubes in hand, darts in the other hand, just like slow.
You could have done like such a good runaway spot too. Like in the match, you both fight towards the escalators. The heel tries to run
tries to
away.
powder.
He runs up the wrong side. All right, next VXS Nerd Show.
He turns
That has to
around
go
and
down.
rocks back down slowly and just accepts his clothesline at the bottom of the escalator.
Waiting for him. So Wrestler res. We did like 10 minutes. It was all good. And then it comes the final moment. The actual final moment.
The actual final
Got
moment.
a big bundle of tubes. It's like 7 of them
Got a
taped
big
together.
bundle of them.
I go to do the Kota Ibushi, the 2 arms pulling knee, right? And bit of like backstory. There are right long light tubes and wrong light tubes, right?
Yes.
It's like thick boys are good because when they break like break into smaller pieces, blah blah blah. The skinny ones, if they break, they kind of turn into like daggers.
Didn't
and
you
whatever.
famously though like defend the skinny ones once? When
No.
I remember there's a thing going on.
Oh, the
in Japan
Shupro.
about the bad and the good light
So-
tubes. And I remember you at least tweeted something.
I did.
Like, I don't care.
But that one,
Any light tube will do. And those words have
those
come back
the,
to
the ones we
bite
have
you
in
in
Japan
the,
now.
leg.
I know, bite me in the leg. The ones we have now are still thicker than like the UK or Australia, but they are like harder. But yes, I did say that I will. I don't care. It wasn't just me. It was like Kasai and like Ito. They're like, yeah, we don't
I just
give a
remember you
fuck.
taking a stand and feeling
Public-
cool about the
No,
fact that you
it
did
was
publicly
it was
take a
because
stand.
in Shupro there was this 2-page piece, right? The state of the light tube in Japan, because the light tubes changed. They don't have any more LED ones.
Right.
Or they only have LED ones, whichever one's bad, I forget. And they interviewed every single deathmatch wrestler in Japan, right? Everyone gave like a little paragraph, except for 2 wrestlers. Drew Parker, Violento Jack. There's something we have in common there, in this country.
Both members of ERE.
Now, yeah.
3 years ago, not that.
At that point, we were both just foreigners.
Hi, Hokujin.
So yeah. So we have the tubes, right? I think it was like near the start of the match. We just started lamp each other with them, and then like some of them wouldn't break on the first go.
Ooh.
And I was like, "Ooh, for American light tubes, this isn't." I was like giving them a good whack, you know.
I was giving him a good
I was
swing.
I wasn't half-arsing it, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." I was like doing the headbutts, and I was like,
He was all fired up. He was
Oh.
at Disney yesterday with Rob Shit. There's no half measures being poured here.
No. I'd been to Disney. I'd had my workout. I had my fucking burrito. I was ready. I was swinging these tubes. And I was like, oh, they're not really breaking, whatever. And then it comes to the final scene. I go to give him the Kota Ibushi knee.
Kota Ibushi knee.
Yeah. I give him one. Dung! It doesn't break. And then I panic.
Well, now, you gotta think. In that moment,
Yeah. Calm down.
you're there. You're trying to bust out the Kamigoye,
Yeah.
and you're trying to do it in front of all your friends.
All my friends. Because all my friends too, a lot of wrestlers were there just to get drunk and watch.
Well, of course.
And the ones who finished the matches were
And
just there to
in
get
front
drunk
of
and
all
watch.
your friends, the light tubes are nose telling you. You feel that immediate shame.
Disrespect.
I've been in
Yeah.
the same situation, not as many times as you, I'd assume, but I have been in that situation where you hit someone with something and it doesn't break, and you're like,
Me and you at Progress.
oh well, now I look stupid.
That table at Progress.
That was your fault.
Was it? Whose was it?
The swan dive.
No. Like we tried to go through that table like 3 or 4 times, and then eventually you just powerbombed me.
Yeah, but that was that not initiated by your mistake first?
There was a Death Valley as well.
But I feel like the first one was you did the swan dive, and I threw a chair at
Yeah.
you. And instead of
Didn't
falling
break.
out the ring, no, you
I
fell
fell
in.
in.
You
That
fell-
did happen. That
you
did
fell-
happen.
You were meant to
Yeah,
get hit with
yeah,
the chair
yeah.
and fall outside through the table.
Yeah.
That was my intention.
Yes.
And I hit you with a chair in midair, Sabu style, and you bounced into the ring. So then my plan in my mind had gone to shit. So I was frustrated.
We have to break this table. at
So
this
I got
point.
outside and I tried to put you through it with something.
I think it was Death Valley off the apron.
No,
I
it wasn't off
swear.
the apron. Are we thinking of 2 different instances?
We didn't wrestle no DQ twice at Progress.
I don't remember. English tables are...
Stiff.
People always talk about
Stiff-ski.
Japanese tables.
No.
The English ones are far worse.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
Well, I mean, not that any table is intended for a human to go through.
Well,
it,
yeah.
But at least I remember at Progress, they were just hiring catering tables from a catering company. Like, that table is especially not intended to break. You want to
Absolutely
get
not.
back your deposit
Oh,
in
yes.
most instances. So I remember they would never break. There was like multiple times at Progress where tables didn't break.
I had to just take the razor's edge at the end of the day. That's what broke
I've
it.
never done a razor's edge in my life.
You did that night. Hey,
I did-
you
I-
had to do what you had to do.
I remember you didn't even know it was coming.
Oh no, you didn't even call it.
Hey!
What did you? Listen, once I was there, bent over in between your legs. I knew what was coming. Because you've got to imagine, when I'm like there, right, set before the lift of the powerbomb, I can see between my own legs, and I see the tail. I know what's coming.
You know what's coming. I mean, there isn't anything more deflating than when you try and break something in wrestling and it doesn't break.
So this all happened within 2 seconds. So I hit the first knee.
But those 2 seconds, of course, feel like an eternity.
A fucking lifetime now. So I hit the first knee. Oh shit! They moved out of position a little bit too. And
They had a little wiggle.
So I do the knee. Half of them break.
Is it the second?
Second time.
Okay.
You got to bear in mind as well, they're all taped at the top and the bottom. So the tubes that have broken have not fallen over. They're still upright. So I do the knee, half of them break, and I bring my leg back at full speed. And then I cut, like, the 4 parts of the quadricep muscle, 2 of them just got, like, sliced. And then, like, I think it was my muscle, I'm not sure. Something fell out. Like, it was hanging in, but it fell out, like, flopped.
That's good.
And I looked at it, and I saw, like, it was, like, further than the muscle. I saw, like, I think it was bone. And I was like, oh. I just, like, slowly fell backwards until I was, like, lying down. And then I was like, the referee saw it. The referee was amazing. Saw it. Nope. X. Nope. So, yeah, then everyone's, like, freaking out because everyone can, like, see the inside of my leg. And I was pretty calm. This is what everyone...
You seemed pretty relaxed, yeah.
The whole time.
Again, I was checking the hashtag.
Yeah.
And
God.
No, actually, I don't think I was checking the hashtag. I think I was doing something else. And then I think the first thing I saw was someone tweeted and it, like, showed up on my timeline. Oh, I hope Drew Parker's okay. And I was like...
oh, boy.
Oh. And then I, like, searched it. And it was like, I'm not sharing the video in case it's disrespectful right now. And I was like...
In case he died.
I was like, is he fucking dead? And then finally I found the video and I was like, ooh, that's a bad one. But you went down and you were just like... It was funny. There was like the look in your eyes, like my leg is broken.
Yeah, I was like, no,
it's over.
Yeah,
it was like just sad acceptance of it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
No.
That's what it was, like anger.
No, we're done.
Like anger at myself of like, oh great, like tournament of survival's coming up, and I have to think like, obviously it's America, we all speak English, but it's like it's still a foreign country. It's not like my home.
Right.
Creature comforts at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you have creature comforts anymore?
I realized it's Japan after going home last month. When I was in the UK, I was like, oh, this feels like a holiday.
Right.
And then Japan. You're gonna have that soon with Progress.
Oh,
little side quest.
Boy. Yeah. So, I'm in Progress in September. There's not many tickets left. You can buy them if you want.
3 years.
Side
right?
quest completed. Progress.
No, since just like the UK, it's like 2-3 years. Yeah.
Be just under 3 years. I left in February 2020. So
I think you can have like reverse culture shock.
I'm quite worried about it, but you know, be fine. Buy your tickets if there's any left. They're selling quickly.
Of course they are. Come on.
Quickly.
Of course they are.
They're pretty fast.
So yeah, I lie back there and I'm like mad. Like at myself, not at anyone else. I'm just there like, oh fuck, I know what this entails. I have to go to the hospital in America, which is like so daunting. And then
Isn't it like crazy that that's like the first concern? You're like lying on the canvas already thinking like,
yeah,
the health insurance.
Yeah,
costs,
yeah. Like, and I luckily like I had
insane.
insurance too. Obviously, my mum like pressured me into getting it, and every time I'm like, no, I'll be fine.
You gotta get it every
then,
time. I remember people like used to say I was crazy. Like whenever I'd go to America, I'd book like quite expensive because you want it to cover professional wrestling health insurance, but it paid out in dividends in the end. I remember when Lycos broke his collarbone.
Right? Yeah.
It was like a week before, and I was like, we have to get health insurance.
Oh,
if
so
we're
it
going
was
to
like,
America.
we are gonna get it.
Yeah, and
like
he was
you
like,
get it too.
He was like, oh, okay, like send me the link or
Thank
whatever.
God, Jesus
well,
Christ.
Got lucky there, didn't you?
Yeah, legit.
Kid like us. You gobby shit.
I got lucky too. Kind of. Oh, that was it. So, God bless Arez, right, who was so nervous before the match, has done like 6 death matches in his life. He crawls over to look at what's happened. At this point, there's no towels on my leg. This is the first, like, 10 seconds since my leg got cut. He looks at it, and he just throws up. Just like in the middle of the ring, he just throws up.
It's so funny. You're talking about this story now, this light tube situation happening.
Yeah.
As we're sitting here on the floor, I've just noticed you've still got the scar on your foot from the other
Last
light
year.
tube incident.
Yeah. Yeah, I got... So I have nerve damage in, like, the smallest toe.
You can't feel
it,
some
like,
of your toes, right?
This side, like the outer side of my left foot, I don't have feeling.
But it was essentially the same situation. It was like
it just
hitting and stepping back down on an upright light tube.
1 year apart.
It's almost as if you don't learn your lessons.
I get a little bit more reckless in the summer, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. The heat.
The humidity.
So Arez throws up. And
Beautiful.
I'm like, at this point, I don't care. I'm just like, oh, fuck, this sucks. And then the first person in the ring, Rob shit.
Of course, Rob
Towel.
Shit. Of course, Rob
boom,
Shit's there.
belt around the leg to stop any
around the
potential
leg.
bleeding. Boom. He was there, bro. He was ready.
Forward thinking by Rob Shit.
And then I heard this story afterwards. So Jimmy Lloyd was the match before me. He wrestled, I can't remember. It was a luchador. What was it? Psycho Clown. So he like does his match and then like we pass, right? So he wrestles his match. He comes up the escalator. I'm about to go down the escalator. We have the like, right? Have fun, love you. See you on the other side sort
See you
of
on
thing.
the indies, brother.
Yeah. I get hurt, and you can see it from like the upstairs, right? Because it's like a mall. It like in the center of a mall. It looks like. So you can see it from the second floor, and someone says to Jimmy, "Oh, like Drew's fucked." And then Jimmy, at the speed of light, is sprinting down this escalator. Effie said he'd never seen Jimmy Lloyd move so fast in his entire life. So Rob Shit's the first guy in. Then it's Jimmy Lloyd. So like Rob Shit had the towels and everything. Jimmy just like lay there, like on his side, like painting like one of your French girls style, just in all the broken glass. Just like didn't have to say anything. We knew the situation. We knew this was fucked. He just knew he had to be there for me. And then the whole roster's piling out, right? VXS isn't like a deathmatch company.
No.
So any like this level of injury is definitely like a first time for everyone.
Or at least rare.
Yeah. So one of the bar staff who phoned the ambulance, she like runs down the stairs, she phones the ambulance. The staff like asking questions like, is he this, is he that? She asks, is he on like blood thinners? Which I wasn't. Rob Shit looks at me, looks at my leg, looks back to the staff and goes, yeah, a lot. Because he knew if you say you're on blood thinners and you've cut your leg to like oblivion.
Right, you'll get in faster.
4 minutes. Las Vegas, 4 minutes and the ambulance was there, ready.
Rob Shit go.
Rob Shit, legendary. Ambulance comes, the two doctors look at my leg, they go, oh, that's fucked. Get on this gurney. So I get on the gurney. And then Rena Yamashita is there with like a cocktail in her hand with like the saddest look on her face. And she was like, Ren Rakushitene. She was like, contact me. Because like, I was like, oh, I'm going to babysit Rena and Sugiura for the next like 2 weeks.
Right.
And then
Play Papa.
I'm out.
He's done.
So stretcher, go to the hospital.
Hospital.
It took like 4 hours. It was like 30 stitches on the inside, 10 on the outside. And they were like, oh, yeah, you're on crutches. And I was like, when do I get to wrestle again? Because I know I've got tournament survival coming up. And they were like, oh, you're going to be out for like a month. You won't be able to wrestle. And I was like,
We'll see.
I was like, that's a bit of a spanner in the works right now, considering I'm in America for the biggest deathmatch tournament in the world. And then right after that, I'm going to Japan to be freelance for the first time.
Right.
So, big things coming up. Kind of need to be in good tip-top condition. So I get out of the hospital... And Human Tornado's there. It's him.
Of course.
So Human Tornado is a bouncer at the bar that promoted the show. That's why Human Tornado was there. He's there every day.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Why is Brilliant.
And Willie Mack. Willie Mack was in the car too. He's not a bouncer there, but he was there every day. So Human Tornado, Jimmy Lloyd, Rob Shit, and Willie Mack, they pick me up from the hospital. They drive it. I mean, like, oh, that was a thing. So I was taken from the ring to the hospital.
Right.
I have no bag. I have no phone, no wallet, no nothing. And then, like, I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm like...
Have you already lost your phone at this point?
No, this is the next day.
Yet.
This is the next day. This is the next day. And I'm like... I say to the doctors, like, all of them, doctors, all the nurses, they were all so cool, so helpful, whatever. And I was like, I don't have any clothes. I can't, like... And at this point, because I have no phone, I don't know if Jimmy Lloyd's out there waiting for me with my bag. Because he said he was going to get my bag. So I'm like, I don't have clothes. What should I do? And then one of the doctors, she was like, oh, we have like the gowns. You know, like the surgery gowns, right?
Yeah, hospital schmuck.
That's all we can like offer you.
Assless.
No, as in, it was like top and shorts.
Oh, nice.
But it was like the medical green.
Oh, like a pair of scrubs.
Yeah.
Like you're a doctor.
No, not even. Like medical... But like still same color, medical green. Really like paper thin.
Nice.
And I was like, that'll do. so then I leave. I have my crutches. I have my like paper scrubs on. And then, thank God, Human Tornado, he's there ready and waiting with the crew. Then they drop us off at our hotel. Me, Jimmy, and Rob are in the same room. And there's a picture, which I don't think I've uploaded online yet, which maybe I'll tweet after this drops.
Okay.
Of me in my scrubs with my crutches outside the hotel.
Looking like $1 million.
Yeah. After that, I just went to the bar every single day.
Yeah, after that, there's not a lot going on until...
No.
TOS and the...
The reasoning, just like as a quick side quest, the reasoning that I went to the same bar every day, the bar that promoted the show, was I was like, if I leave Las Vegas like this, if I leave the nerd bar like this, it's a bad memory.
Right.
It's
so
like
you got to try and make...
I'll have
you got to try and make better memories in Vegas.
Exactly.
You left.
So I was like, okay. So I didn't plan I'll go to the bar every day, but then I went one day and I was like, this was fucking fun.
Were you drinking in the bar?
Absolutely. I wasn't meant to be.
With 30 stitches in your
So I remember the next day, I started and I was like, I'll have a cola.
Yeah. You in your head, you had the full intentions of not drinking.
I was on antibiotics and they weren't like, don't drink antibiotics. It was like alcohol you can mix.
The don't drink ones. They were like
because I wasn't...
You're right ones.
I wasn't on painkillers.
Okay.
So, and then I was like watching everyone get progressively more fucked up and I was like, I want to be fucked up too.
I want to
so then I
also.
started drinking it and then it was fine. So I just drank there every day. And hey, now my image of the nerd bar, great time.
It's all positive times.
Yeah, all positive. Well, not all positive, but 99%.
Not all positive.
Great
but a large
time.
percentile is positive memories.
Yeah. So that was Vegas, pretty much.
That was Vegas.
Every state is like a movie.
It's like an adventure.
Yeah. So like Los Angeles was like full of a new hope, if you will. It was a new hope. And then Las Vegas, it was like, oh, the Empire is indeed striking back in the shape of my leg being cut into pieces. So then the last stop on the trip was New Jersey. So it was meant to be TOS. Well, no. I was meant to be in TOS. And then even when we got to New Jersey, I was like on the crutches and I like wasn't feeling amazing. But I knew in my head, I was like, oh, this could be like, you know, the next day, the first day of the rest of my life. So I was like feeling it for the first like 24 hours. Like, I don't know if I can do it. And then Brett kept like, he was like, are you good for TOS?
Well, this is the reason you've like gone.
Yeah.
The other shows are like
because
nice.
Originally it was just meant to be TOS.
Yeah,
and they just like added
are, like,
more
nice
on.
bonuses, but the reason
yeah.
for you being in America is TOS, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like when we flew to New Jersey, it was like in 3 days was TOS, I think. I think it was like 3 days until TOS, something like that. And we got there, it was like me and Jimmy went to his house, and then we went for like just like coffee with Brett to like talk about stuff, and he was like, so what do you think? And he was like watching me like with like beady eyes, like watching me get out the car. Yeah, it's like to see what condition I was
like
in.
Analyzing
Yeah.
movement.
And I was like, I was grunting it. I was like, in reality, I was in a lot of pain, but I was like, hey, look at me go. It hurt a lot.
But you're still thinking about it. You're still,
Yeah.
You're still considering what to do
Exactly.
or what not to do, because the doctors have told you how long. What are they saying?
A month. I can't wrestle for a month. That's what they told me. So I think it was 2 days. So if TOS was Saturday, it must have been the Thursday.
Yeah, the Thursday. So it's the Thursday, but TOS is the weekend.
Yeah. So it's like TOS Saturday, COS Sunday, which is like the first Cage of Survival. And it's like, it's going to be like the biggest GSW weekend in like however long, right? So I was like, oh, I really want to like be in TOS.
Right.
Obviously.
Of course.
Because, little known fact, I was meant to be on every single TOS since TOS 3. So the first time I got the offer, it was after I got the TOD offer. So I did TOD.
What year was that?
This was like, I was 20, so 4 years ago.
Okay.
So it was TOS 3.
Before Japan?
Way before, yeah. Or I guess only a year before. Because the next year, I got the offer, but I just moved to Japan. I was like, oh, I can't do it. I've just got here for BJW. And then the year after that, Corona. But it was like, there was always something for like 4 years.
Every year there was a wee something in the
But
way.
now I'm in the country. And I'm like, I have to do it.
Right.
So then like, there we go. I was like, right, okay, I'm doing it. And then the night before, was it maybe Alex or Jimmy grabbed us being me, Segura, and Rena, and was like, oh, Mondo's here. Sick Nick Mondo and Wife Beater. Oh, we want to go say hi to Mondo and like see the ring and whatever, because they'd not seen the ring in the carousel room before. So we go there, we meet Mondo, we meet Wife Beater, we meet like Wife Beater's family. And at this point, obviously I'd already decided that I was doing it, but I was like hyped up that I'm doing it.
He's fired up.
I was like, I'm fired up now.
He's
I've
back.
seen like TOD, like, OGs, I'm like, yes, it's in. Like,
Well,
it's
I
going
remember
down.
I spoke to you like a day or two before, and I was like, "You're there already," and you were like, "Your mentality was out like I might give it a go," and I was like, "Well, if you're gonna do it, you may as well try and do it and do the whole win the
like,
whole thing."
fucking,
Because
yeah.
like, if you do it and you end up losing and you go out round one, you've just done it and gone out round one. I was like, well, if you're gonna try and at least do it, you should at least try and do the whole fucking thing,
Yeah,
win the whole
exactly.
fucking thing.
Exactly. So that hyped me up. Your speech hyped me up. Meeting Mondo for the first time, meeting Wife Beater for the first time, and then I forgot a side story.
Uh-oh.
There was a side story in Vegas. It was our last night in Vegas. Rob Shit left a day before we did.
Rob shit.
So we got really fucked up at the bar. And then at this point is when I'm still toying. I'm like,
Weighing up your options.
what do I do? What do I do?
Does the boy go for it?
And then Rob Shit's like, you're gonna go in there? Or are you gonna fucking go in there? It was like the same vibe as yours, but like different verbiage, right? He was like, you're gonna show the world. You're not some fucking scrub. You're the best deathmatch wrestler in the world. He was so fucking
I
cooked.
love Rob shit.
He was
I've
so
never
out of
met
his
him,
head.
but-
And he was like, do you understand what I'm saying? You gotta look me in my eyes. This isn't a game to me. This isn't a joke. I'm so fucking serious right now. You're the best deathmatch wrestler in the world, and you gotta fucking show him. And like Rob Shit left that bar, and I was like shaking, like the hair was vibrating off my body. I was like so hyped
He was
up.
fired up.
Yeah. So I had Rob Shit, you, and Mondo and Wife Beater. At that point, I was like, right, it's going down. I'm gonna have to give it everything. And it comes to the day. I actually had like a good night's sleep too, which was rare for
rare.
America.
Well, rare for you in general.
Yeah, true. For America, it's even
For
worse.
America, especially rare.
For America, it's rough. So I had a good night's sleep, and I was like, right, showtime, baby, showtime. So I hobbled down, I hobbled downstairs to just like outside the hotel. I don't have to kayfabe this. I was having a cigarette outside, like
I was having a cigarette.
I was having a cigarette.
I'm a grown man.
I'm 24 years old. I was preparing myself for the potential casualties that were going to come my way. Wasn't feeling amazing. The crossover of Fanta Wrestler, there are plenty. So even when I'm just walking in the lobby and stuff, I'm in the mindset the same I was with Brett days earlier of like, I ain't gonna show a thing. I ain't gonna sell shit.
People are assessing you.
Yeah, of course. And like even at that point, I was still hobbling.
Is this brother good to go?
He's like, oh, good to see you up and moving, man. I was like, yeah, I'm up. I'm barely moving.
But in his head, Clive is actually considering, do I wear my Drew Parker Nirvana shirt on Saturday? Or do I not bother?
And you know what? To be fair, there were a few Nirvana Parker, and there were a few who bought the Misfits Parker t-shirt as well. Appreciate it highly. So, Showtime. Showtime, Randy Jackson.
The venue, it's showtime.
We're in.
The time is
lot.
literally showtime.
Yeah, a lot of people were going out to merch before, not me. I couldn't afford to walk that long. I couldn't afford to walk that distance. I didn't want to risk it. I like...
Every step you take to that merchandise table over to buy time
know how,
is
like-
a step that you won't be taking later in the ring.
You know how wrestlers have like that old saying of like the bump card? We've all got bump cards.
This day you had a walking
I had a step card. I knew there was only X amount of steps I could take in one day, so I wanted to savor them. I wanted to savor them for this moment. So round one. Do you want me to go through the whole tournament?
I mean, yeah,
It's a bit long.
Go through it.
I'll try and
go through it.
I'll cut the fat. I'll cut the fat. Went out there with Cole Radrick, who's like really over at the moment,
Right.
like crazy over. And I thought I was gonna get booed because he's like too over. I was cursing Brett, in
Right.
fact, because I was like my first entrance back in the Showboat after last year. And I'm
You're
gonna get
against
like
the new
hot stud.
hot flavor of
yeah,
the month.
I'm against the new hot stud.
Big sexy Cole Radrick.
But then luckily, he comes out, gets his pop. I come out, get my pop. It was all good.
They're popping all round.
Really fun match.
Pops for days.
And honestly, I didn't do a lot of running. I was like moving around doing like swantons and
didn't
stuff.
take too many steps.
I was watching the step card just in case I made it to the next round. You know what I mean? So we had like this really like good match, and then like in the match it wasn't too bad. And then Alex, who wasn't in the tournament this year, but he's won it 3 times, right? So it's like 3 times he's done 3 death matches in one day and won. And then he did NGI too, so 4 times I guess he's done like a tournament in one day and won. And he was like, your adrenaline is gonna like, you're gonna be in peaks and valleys, right? So this is after the first match. He was like, you feel like great right now, but trust me, you're gonna come down before that next match. And then when you get in the ring, you're gonna feel like weird. That's what he was like warning me about.
Right.
But I got kind of lucky. I just like rode high. So even when I was in there with Rena, and
Rena was round 2.
Rena was round 2. Rena Yamashita. Between matches, maybe.
The deathmatch
Amazones. I think maybe 12 minutes in between our matches.
That's such a short amount of time.
I was the last first round match.
Right.
The second semi-final.
Which is maybe good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure which.
I don't
maybe
know.
if you'd have had longer, you'd have had more of a come down.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Rena had. Like, I don't know. You know, because she was like the first match. She had the most time. Like, to recuperate and whatever. And calm down, I guess.
I've never done a deathmatch tournament, but I've done like tournament situations. Yeah. I feel like as hectic as it can be, the shorter time is more beneficial because you kind of still ride that same adrenaline high from the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what benefited me because I went out with their arena. Like, that was nuts. We had, it was just glass boards. It was just glass boards and like some tubes. So we were getting like all fucked up. And then after that finished, I was like kind of feeling really good.
Then you were feeling too good.
Yeah, and then I was like, what's this? My leg, like, it hurt, but it wasn't like, it hurts no more than it does now. It was just like the same, and I just wrestled on it twice.
Adrenaline is really a heck of a thing.
Who was I talking about this with? I can't even remember, but I was like, oh, it was Nick Gage. I saw him walking his poodles, right?
The man.
Yeah, the king. I saw him outside the showboat.
MDK
walking his...
all day.
All day.
Not
all fucking day.
Not partially.
No.
All of the day.
Eastern Bloc. Hate Club. Anyway. He was like walking his 2 poodles, right, outside the showboat. And I was like, oh, hey, Nicky. And then we were like, it's like talking about
that. Was he watching the show at all, or did he just happen to be walking his dogs past the arena at the moment?
This was before, or maybe it was the day after the show. Maybe this was like before Cage's survival, maybe.
Drew's lost his concept of days.
No, because
I hope he wasn't there.
It links back in.
I hope
it links
was
back
an
in.
epiphany that you just had. You were like, not an epiphany, like
Nick
a mirage.
Cage came to me.
You were outside and like, I just saw like...
Nick Cage walking poodles.
In the hot sun, Nick Cage walking his dogs, and he spoke to me and he said, you go fucking win it, Drew. And you're like, okay.
All fucking day, man. But that was it. We had that conversation of like, if you could bottle adrenaline, like I'd be fucking bankrupt. You know what I mean? Like that's where, because it's just like the crazy high. Crazy high. Because at this point, I'm not feeling like 30 stitches in my leg.
Sure.
I'm just like, come on, like bring on the fucking finals. So it's me and Matt Tremont, the finals. He's won every single deathmatch tournament in America except for TOS. I've won like, I had a good 12 months. That was like the story, I guess. Was that Tremont's been here for like the decade, dominating. And I'm the hot flavor. Like I'm like the new like 12 months that was really good.
Which is why everyone hated you.
Yeah, so that was one reason why people hated me. So I didn't realize until afterwards. Matt Tremont was raised in Atlantic City where the show was.
Right, so it's hometown.
Yeah.
Hometown.
So
he's done it all before, except for this one.
That's even separate to someone being over. If someone's not over, they're not familiar.
Hometown pride.
Yeah. So imagine being over and then adding on the fact that it was like hometown pride. So I came out.
So you're all fired up and then you come out for the finals and everyone hates you.
I came out for the finals and I can't remember who I said this to. There's only one country in the world where you could get 30 stitches in your leg, still wrestle 2 times in one day the next week, make your final entrance of the night and get booed.
I think that was
that's
me.
The land of the free, home of the brave, baby. There's only one country, legit. That's it.
So you're there, you're doing your best. And
so Roman Reigns makes his entrance, right?
Everyone hates you.
This was my tribal chief moment, but before the tribal chief, this was a like shield vest Roman Reigns moment. And I came out there and I was like, people putting their middle fingers in my face, and then my legs started hurting. The reality of like, no, I started like shrinking into this weak man.
But at this point, it goes beyond like the pride of a wrestler. You're just like genuinely offended. Like, come on, I'm really doing my best today.
Yeah, like it goes beyond like, oh, but the story is that like, blah, blah, blah. No, like I've had 40, like total 40 stitches.
Like, fuck you, I'm trying my hardest.
Like 8 days ago, yeah.
Why are you giving me the middle finger?
Like, what's going on here? So then everyone in the Parker t-shirts was, I was very appreciative. So we have this really...
All 3 of them.
Yeah. All 2 of them. One of them being Jimmy Lloyd.
And the other being Rob Shit.
Yeah, Rob Shit. So then afterwards, 1, 2, 3, I finished him with the move that hurt me. The move the move that put me on the shelf in the first place. But I did it with my left leg because I was practicing doing it like, just like on my own backstage. I was like, can I do the knee with my right leg? And I had like no power. I couldn't. Yeah.
Can I do it with my other leg?
And I couldn't. So I had to do my left. So I put him away with that. 1, 2, 3. We're both fucking knackered. I get the trophy. Yay. I turn around for 1 second and Jimmy Lloyd's already in the ring. He's crawled under the barbed wire ropes. We share a hug and a smooch. And then Joey, who like I didn't even mention before, helped me so much in like after my injury, like running me around. I had my phone stolen. We don't need that side quest. Had my phone stolen. He helped me get like
sure it was.
Yeah. It's like,
ended up in me giving a lot of unannounced or unexpected phone calls to Rob,
Jimmy, Rob, shit, and Joey
at 4 a.m.
Yeah, so Jimmy, Rob, and Joey like saved my skin, like run into the fucking pharmacy for me and like getting me breakfast and stuff. So then Joey runs up to the side of the ring, like PWG, like OG PWG style, and we just hold hands. It's like because he doesn't want to crawl through the barbed wire. It's like we just hold hands and we're like, and he's like, "You fucking did it," and I was like, "I fucking did it." Real wholesome moment, and no one booed when I won.
That's good.
Yeah, that would have ruined it probably.
With your heart.
Yeah,
you didn't get the Hulk Hogan cola cups in the ring bash at the beach '96.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. And then Tremont, I told you, he was the first man to make me cry in a wrestling ring. It was Matt Tremont.
First time in a wrestling ring ever?
In a wrestling ring, yeah. I've cried many times outside of one. I cry almost every day outside of a wrestling ring.
I cry every day.
The wrestling ring is the only place where I will not cry, typically.
Right.
He said really nice things, and then it was like that mixed with, like, it's over.
You did it.
Because, like, this whole trip was like, oh, okay, LA was really fun, Las Vegas, get hurt. And then the one focal point of, like, the trip, can I do it? Can I not do it?
Can I survive?
Yeah, and, like, fucking hobbling around on, like, Fremont Street in Vegas on crutches.
On crutches?
Slowing everyone
like
down.
3 days
and, like,
before?
Yeah.
2 days before on crutches?
Yeah, I just was, like, 2 days before. It was like, it was more the mental side of things. Like, the pain is what, it sounds cringe. The pain is whatever, but it's like the mental side of like,
right.
I'm slowing everyone down. And like, oh, I can't just get up and fucking go to the convenience store, like go down and get some fries.
It's really like funny, like you feel a lot of the times like as a wrestler that you're invincible, and then you get like the slightest like injury and like the debilitation of it, and like I understand what you're saying, like that negative feeling that comes with it. You really start to appreciate like such common things that you take for granted, like
just being normal.
Just being able to, like, not being, like, just...
not normal's not the word.
Just being able to, like, walk around freely. We talk regularly about, like, not necessarily stresses or pressures, but just, like, you know, like, general, like, we share kind of the same life in the sense of, like, we live in a foreign country and we're away from our families and friends and stuff, and we have, like, these feelings and, like, all these...
The
like,
struggles are, like, there's a big crossover of the struggles that we share.
I don't want to say struggles because it sounds too much like I'm, like,
woe is
whining.
me.
Oh, woe is me, the struggles. But, you know, like, you have just generally day to day. Everyone has their problems.
Yeah.
But I remember even just, like, hurting my ankle recently. And, like,
coincidentally, we ended up on crutches at the same time.
Partially tearing some ligaments. I was, like, hobbling around backstage at DDT, like, Kumamoto and Fukuoka. And I just felt, like, longing for, but also grateful for, like, being, like, oh, regularly, I just can walk around. And, like, it's something that everyone, of course, takes for granted, like, every day. Everyone has their stresses and their problems. But then, like, when you get that injury... no matter how long or short it is, you really like have a wider appreciation for
on
like the general well-being.
On a much lesser scale, it's like that thing of you don't appreciate not having a stuffed nose until your nose is stuffed.
Until your nose is stuffed.
Right? It's like it's like that on a much like bigger scale. You don't appreciate like just like the privilege of being able to walk to that Lawson 10 minutes, 5 minutes down the road and like stuff like that.
It's when you get those like moments where you're like, oh, you should be grateful for like
every day like we had this like emotional conversation the other night of just like,
but it is true.
No, it is.
And like the unfortunate thing is like you talk about just people in general these days and like the attention spans that people have, like things wear off very quickly. So like 2 weeks ago I couldn't walk around without crutches and I was like, oh, I just wish I could like walk around again. And now like I can and I don't think about it once.
Right?
Like,
yeah, like it's already gone. It's already gone.
My toe today. It's a real fucking inconvenience.
Yeah. No, it's like so true. So
comparatively. Continue, sorry.
So yeah, it was more the mental struggle of like,
right.
I can't do these things I could normally do, being an inconvenience to everyone, like blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think it is really like, incredible that you still did it. But it literally goes back to like, the thing I was saying to you at the beginning of it when you were like considering doing it. I was like, if you're gonna do it, you may as well do it and at least try to win the whole thing. Because if you don't, you'll have just done it and just participated. And no one remembers participants, as sad as that sounds. Like people remember the winners, like. In wrestling, at least, or at least
100%.
At least just zoned in specifically on this scenario. It was like if you'd have done it and you'd have tried to wrestle Cole Radrick and you'd have lost round one, no one would have remembered the fact that you were in it. Especially like a year later, everyone would have been like, "Oh well, whatever." But like in my mind, when I was having that conversation with you, I was like, it's the same risk if you give 100% or if you give 50%.
Yeah.
You give 100% and you try and win the whole thing. It's the same amount of risk as if you do 50% effort because you're not feeling sure of yourself and you do one match and you lose.
Yeah.
Like, and what is more worth the risk? Like, the risk is the same regardless.
So my worry that I said to you was like, I don't want to get infected. I don't want to get my leg infected. And then that was when you were like, oh, if you have one match or if you have 3 matches,
You're
so
running
no matter how hard you try, the risk is the same.
You're running the same risk either way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're potentially running the same risk
3 times.
multiple times.
Yeah, but still. Like,
But I mean,
the first round is light tubes and fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
right. If you're going to do it, you may as well do it.
Yeah.
Rather than just, be like,
And I did it. I think that was like the first message I sent you afterwards too. I was like,
I
fucking did it.
The Instagram message, the first reply was like, I did it, like a crying emoji.
I don't even think it was a crying emoji, but you just knew I was crying.
I was just crying.
And I was.
Like, you did do it.
There was like multiple times that night I was like with Jimmy and I was like, I just fucking did it, dude. Like, it's over, you know?
And started crying.
I think I only cried twice that weekend.
Rare.
Yeah.
Rare for you.
Yeah,
No, you don't cry.
Not recently.
I made you cry the other day.
Oh, that was a lie. Yeah, you did. Yeah, but that was rare. That was rare.
That was emotional bar talk.
I know. It doesn't count.
It's mostly just.
It's just
the drunkenness.
Yeah.
The drunkenness. The.
But it connects.
The Asahis they're flowing.
Exactly.
The darts.
It connects to like the story of just life's too short.
Life is too short.
It's too short.
And I feel proud of you. I feel proud that you went and did it.
I appreciate it.
I think people with less of a will would have given up, and I don't feel like that's even a negative thing. I feel like if you have an injury and you decide not to work with it, that's more than fair. I just admire the fact that you went, you said you were going to do it, you did it, and you went all the way and did it. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool that you did it.
I said to I was like hanging out with Tremont afterwards. We were like both all fucked up. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? This is like way after the show.
Beat the
it's
shit
like
out
the next
of each
day,
other and then become friends.
This is like, so at Cage of Survival, neither of us were wrestling. We were just like, oh yeah, we're not gonna wrestle today. We both wrestled 3 matches. And we were hanging out on merch, and I was like, it feels good to like, no matter what you do in wrestling, you can like feel like you've earned something, or maybe feel like you've not deserved something. Right. And it just all depends on you. But then with that tournament, it was like, oh, I earned it, like undeniably, like undoubtedly, like I felt like I earned something. Maybe not for the first time in my life, but just like something that big.
It was just one of those things where like it's another time where at least to yourself you've proved that like the thing you're doing isn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
Which like those things, they're surprisingly like rare, and especially I think in wrestling they do make you really emotional. Like, it's a side story and a sidetrack, but that was the reason, like, I remember I wrestled Takeshita for the KOD Openweight belt.
Last year.
And the minute I gave up, I, like, burst into tears and was, like, crying. And
then
he was crying.
There's that, like, amazing... It's, like... It's a beautiful picture
People
of, like, him just holding you.
So, maybe that's, like, the last point of, like, this first pilot episode or whatever, as we, like, kind of wrap things up. But people talk about, like, that adrenaline, if you could bottle the adrenaline. And I think it's not necessarily true, because the adrenaline is kind of, like, one thing that is very separate from so many other things, because we end up wrestling so regularly that it doesn't necessarily register every time that like, oh, I'm getting this adrenaline boost.
Right. You're tolerant, like, not tolerance, but like,
yeah, like you develop
it's normalized
to it.
like,
It becomes normalized. But there's like these instances where you get like this real sense of gratification plus the adrenaline, and I think that is like the thing we chase, because if it was just adrenaline, we'd get it every match, but you don't. You have like a degree of adrenaline every match where like I can wrestle anywhere, any day with an injury, but like because of the fact that I'm wrestling, the feeling kind of goes away. But like I feel like TOS for you and winning TOS is one of those moments where like for me, if I look back on my career and like think about when they are, it's like the first Attack Walkabout show.
Right,
it's like winning
right.
the Progress titles with Lycos. It's like that match with Takeshita, like the first one and the last one, like
turning points and
these moments where just like you get this feeling of adrenaline, of course, because you're performing for an audience and stuff like that, but like also this feeling of like fulfillment on everything you've worked towards your entire life, which for both of us is kind of the case. We both started wrestling very young, and I think there's always, you can get clouded with it and try and like, there's always like a balance of like rationalizing it, like how much does wrestling mean, how much does people's opinions and stuff affect you, and like you have to develop a very thick skin as a wrestler. But then there's these times when it's like unequivocally for like 90% like positive. But more than that, you just in yourself, you're like,
yeah, that's the most important one.
I did
like,
good today.
Yeah.
And I think as a wrestler, you don't particularly feel that very often.
No. So like, for example, after TOS, I like had trouble. I felt bad for everyone I was hanging out with because I was just like glued to my phone, right?
Right.
I was like trying to scroll back to like the start of the last notification I saw. So like to go from the start to now. And like no matter how many tweets I'd like scroll through, so I look back on it now in hindsight, no matter how many tweets I'd scroll through, like the most powerful feeling was the one that I felt when I was talking to Matt of like, no, like I earned this. Like and it felt good to say like I earned it and I meant it. And it didn't feel like cocky.
No,
because sometimes
not like
you can like
from
be
a
up your own
point of
arse.
arrogance.
No, it was like because I've never really said that before, but like I earned this. Even when I won the Big Japan Deathmatch belt, I didn't say that I earned it. Like, I didn't feel like I earned it. But with like, it just felt different. It felt like the past. It wasn't even like the 2 weeks of the injury. Just like the past 3 years, I moved to a foreign country. I left my family, my friends. Like my only like home, if you want to call it a home friend, was you.
Right.
For like the whole 3 years. So to leave all of that, stay during Corona and whatever.
And I think that's
to finally do it.
I think that's the thing, and the thing I meant when I said like, if you do one and you lose and you don't win the whole thing, it will just become like another thing that happened.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
if like you can do it and you can push through it and get to that point, that's going to be something that'll stay with you forever.
That'll be like my legacy now.
And those moments, like, as silly as it sounds, because of course, like, we're talking about wrestling, and more than wrestling, we're talking about independent wrestling.
Right.
And, like,
right.
to most people, they'll look at that and be like, oh, you, big deal. Like, not most people, but to some people, naysayers perhaps, they'll be like, oh, you won a indie deathmatch tournament. Like, who cares? But, like, for someone who's worked their entire life for that, which people, I think, sometimes separate when they, like, criticize wrestling or wrestlers, and they're like, you know, whatever. But they'll be like, oh, you won a tournament, like, who cares? But, like, when you've worked towards that, literally 4 years, that is the one thing that now, like, the same as me, like, debuting in Manchester with Lycos, or, like, when we first won the tag belts, like, those things just stay with you as, like, I'll forget a lot of things in life. I am a pretty forgetful person, but, like, those moments stay with you, and they're, like, the things that will never go away, and the things that you look at and then think about, and you're like, oh, when I'm 60, I'll probably still reflect on these and be like, those are the most euphoric feelings that I ever got. Yeah. The most self-gratification I ever got for, like, a lifetime of just work and passion towards something like these are the points.
Because, like, even in those moments, I'm sure you'll relate, like, when you debuted with Lycos at Progress or, like, Wrestle Tacking, whatever. When I, like, won TOS, it wasn't, like, I wasn't thinking of, like, oh, from this, the monetary gain of, like, I'm like, going to sell X amount of t-shirts. I'm going to, like, when I go back to Japan, I'll, like, I'm going to be this fucking, like, superstar, whatever. It was literally in that moment.
It's all
like,
just internal.
Like you said before, the fulfillment is what I will remember for, like you said, when I'm 60 years old, I will look back. Those, like, there's probably going to be, like, 10, 20, 30 key points in my life, and that'll be fucking right there as, like, fulfillment. Like, that was a point in my life where, like, I felt fulfilled. I felt good, proud of myself, and, like...
Which is the best thing in the world.
There's, like, you can't put a price tag on it. You can't put a price tag on it.
Never mind bottling adrenaline, which everyone always says.
Right,
You can't bottle the feeling of, like, self-fulfillment, which is way more rare than adrenaline. We get adrenaline.
Exactly. Weekly.
And I'm not saying that we're not, like, not grateful. We're very lucky to feel that feeling of adrenaline regularly. Like, most people perhaps don't feel that, like, from whatever they're doing. But so we feel that regularly, and that's great. But, like, that fulfillment feeling is something that, like, every time you get it, that feeling, and you never know when it's going to come, but it, like, stays with you forever. Right. I had the same thing when I was a Lulu Pencil. Ichigai. We did an Iron Man match, and it finished, and I was just like, oh, I'm doing, like, what I want to do with life.
Like, good shit. Like, this is, But
you don't get that very often.
No.
There's, like, maybe, if I really count, like, 10 points
maybe
in
not even
15 years.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it's not even once a year. Feeling. It's not even, like, they just come.
They come, you don't expect them, and it just happens, and then it's gone. It's so quickly gone.
That's the beauty of life.
And then you just continually chase the next one.
Because it feels like a lifetime ago now, like just being in America.
Right.
I've only been here a week, and now it's still like
feels
normal life again. Like, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good content, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I think someone will find it interesting.
It might be, but it's getting really hot, and we've got to leave soon.
It is hot, yeah.
We should wrap this up.
Yeah.
That was a fun adventure into Drew's time in America. We talked about doing this for a long time, and we've never really committed to doing it. We tried to throw it down today. I think if we did it again, it would kind of be in, like, a similar concept in, like, reflecting on positive things that have happened and kind of going into detail on them.
We said this before, like, the best route is probably not trying to force a weekly schedule to then just try and fill an hour or 2 hours with, like, uninteresting stuff.
Just having, like, a point you want to talk about.
If it's once a month, once every fortnight would probably be the most frequent, like...
Probably.
Yeah.
Just talking about that. But today was fun. I enjoyed it.
I've not talked about, like...
You've not talked about any of it.
No.
Publicly. I mean, we've talked about it, but... Not even in such depth. So.
I've done like one podcast in like 4 years.
yeah.
It doesn't happen.
That was fun. That was me and Drew talking.
Thank you.
No sponsors, no social media.
No jingle.
If you're listening to this, you know who we are, so thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.